Hello.
I was apparently it automatically mutes us, so
Whoops.
it's all right. We can just edit that part out.
Oh, good.
The nice part of doing a pre-recording.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you, so you might want to do your introduction again.
Yeah, for sure. Um, all right, so we'll do that again. All right. So welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning into Dream Set, and I hope that you're really enjoying today, making some time for yourselves to enjoy some music, maybe um, tune in for the nice sound bath today, or just to join these healing conversations that we're having. Um, Earlier, we you heard from Amber from Deeply Rooted LV here in Las Vegas. Um, she's pretty awesome. And now I have another really awesome guest, Nathan. Nathan, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, firstly. Um, I'm Nathan, one of the co-founders of Retro NFTs. Um, yeah, that's me really, in a nutshell. Um, yeah,
Yeah, thanks for hopping on today too. I always love having conversations with you, and in the CNFT space, I would say that we've been friends forever. Like, it goes
yeah,
back since July or June or July, and
yeah,
we met through Sushi Bites and our collaboration Retro Bites we created together, and that was really awesome. Like our team and your team just really jived, and I'm really happy that we stayed in touch all this time. And you know, um, I love that we always check in with each other too. I know when I was feeling anxious at times or like things were feeling overwhelmed, I could always like jump into our chats and like say hi and just feel good from talking to you guys. So thank you for always being there. Um,
yeah. Likewise as well. Yeah, that the support is always good thing to have around you, especially in this community that we're in together. It's great to
Definitely.
have that.
Yeah, definitely. Things move fast and they are up and down and all around. So it's nice to be part of a community where a lot of conversations like this do happen. And so um, I know back in December when we had a little team chat, or maybe it was January. I'm not sure anymore, but um, we were just catching up on each other's lives, like the Sushi Bites and Retro NFTs team, and um, yeah, you mentioned that you wanted to hop on and share some of your experiences and some of your story. Um, so like what what did you want to share with people with
The the so I suppose the empowerment came from just having someone to talk to, and you really inspired that because of the impartial nature that you have. Um, you know, although we have a good, a decent friendship, as two people can have that have never met. Um, that that outside view is an excellent rock almost. Um, so the reason that I felt compelled to come and share my experience is because I feel that not enough exposure to people dealing, living with people that are affected by mental health.
yeah,
So it's not the direct impact of mental health that has on the person that's suffering from it, but it's also the fallout that mental health can bring along with it.
right.
And I feel that maybe even if I help one person feel slightly better about the situation that they may be in, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think it happens very often where people um like when I talk to my friends, or even in my own experience, like with my friends or family members, mostly family members, mostly, but like those very hard and heavy things that they have to face, they ripple through everyone that's around them. Like that energy ripples out, and when you're sometimes, like I know when I've been in dark places, sometimes I don't even realize I'm sending that energy out, but it happens, and I have to recognize that, as well. So yeah, thanks for wanting to talk about this.
So I'll start from the top. Um, I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to give my personal, my life story away. But in a nutshell, I'm a father of three kids. I've been married to my wife for just over 7 years now. We've been together 11 years. Um, and since we had my first child, well, with all three children really, she suffered with postnatal depression. And the very first bout of postnatal depression um, developed into a gambling addiction. So she was she was using the gambling as an escape from, I would say, her own mind, and living with that, living with the financial burden, the the repercussions, how she feels after she's done the gambling, that just put her in a worse position. Um, so it was very, incredibly difficult. Um, but I stuck by her as a husband should do. We got married, we said our vows, and that, till death do us part, and that. So I honoured that, stay with her, and yeah, she has ups and downs like everyone. The downs perhaps are still a little low, but the ups are much higher. So the overall average continuously gets better. Um, so just by supporting her, no matter how hard it was, and it was incredibly difficult, to have one child as a baby with this happening in the background, and then to happen twice, and then only for it to happen a third time was, history repeating itself. But it would, we remain strong together rather than strong independently, and that that really is the factor that conquers all.
What were like through this experience, like what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned as someone, as supporting someone experiencing this?
So initially, I didn't see it as supporting her.
Mhm.
I just I was just providing. So some of the things that I was doing perhaps wasn't the best for her mental state, because I didn't actively stop her or actively try and stop her from doing these things. Um, but as time went on, I did I did learn to understand how she felt. So I was a little bit more empathetic with her feelings than I first was, and I think that helped. And the way the way I done it was just to watch and listen rather than think first.
Mm.
So it has to come from the inside rather than your mind. It has to come from your heart rather than your head. In that respect, you have to really, you can't think about analyzing someone's feelings. You have to feel the feelings in order to really be supportive of that. So that's probably the biggest lesson I learned, was to how, to really just that empathy, feel the empathy.
Yeah, I think something you said that really stuck out to me was this idea of um, think are like sitting with those feelings and like kind of taking a step back to observe and feel rather than jumping into action right away or jumping into that reaction. And and that really is like a turning point um, in a lot of relationships. I think, especially I've seen it show up in many of my relationships. Like when I'm able to like at before I would, and sometimes I still do this, I just want to fix things and like I just jump in right away, like full force. But I'm really like, that's not what people need and that's not what people want. They just need someone who can feel with them and like understand them and be patient with them. Um, and it goes a lot further in the healing process.
Yeah, there's a good there was a good concept that I read, or it was an audio book or something like that. But it's basically you have three spaces. You have the green space, the white space, and the red space. You need to remain in the white space to let's say be impartial. But too often, and it's very easy to, we do it on a daily basis, is to step into the red space, which is act without thinking, do without thinking, um, and how that will affect the people around us. The thought process that goes into this space is stay in the white space for as long as possible, so that you can make a choice to step into either spaces. And naturally, the green space is always the provider of the best solution, because we haven't done the impulsive red space.
Right. And sometimes both of those spaces, you could do the same action in both of those spaces, but they're different outcomes. Like
Yeah,
you jump
entirely.
into the red zone and do exactly what you would do in the green zone, but your intention is not there and the feeling isn't there. But like creating a safe space or like creating that trust and feeling um, before you take that action, that there's a big difference.
Yeah, that's the key. That is the key, and that has helped us. I don't now moan at her for doing it. Now instead of trying to prevent it entirely, we now just manage it. So now we're both tackling one problem, whereas before she was tackling a problem on her own,
Mhm.
and by sharing the load, she feels better for it because she's not being restricted. So she still has that element of, I would say, freedom in her own mind to
Mhm.
do. Yes, it may be an addiction, but controlling the addiction to a safe limit is sometimes better than mitigating it at all. Mitigating it completely, because you can't just click your fingers and expect this to go away.
Mhm.
I smoke, so I know what having an addiction is like. I finish a meal and I want a cigarette, so I go for a cigarette. No one's stopping me from having a cigarette. You know, so it's
Right.
that requirement to do something. So in the grand scheme of things, why should I stop her entirely
Mhm.
in doing something that is providing her with sometimes a negative feeling, but other times it is a positive feeling. So it's really just a balancing act of risk and reward, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's like you said, like it's you can't snap your fingers. You can't.
You can't.
Things don't work like that.
No.
And if they do, it's really rare. But um,
Life's not like that either. Everything that's worth waiting for is a good thing. Everything that happens over time, and I believe that this will rectify itself over time.
Yeah, and it comes it comes with it's a process. Everything's a process, and we make adjustments along the ways. We find new efficiencies. We find new ways, like whether that's with um, improving communication or um, you know, I can't just cold turkey quit like my sweet addiction, but I can reward myself with it sometimes rather than mindlessly do it because I want to numb myself. Like it's little changes that you make along the way, and over a long period of time, like you said, these things get rectified. You find new patterns, you find new rewards, new everything in life. There's something new out there as long as we keep making these adjustments and like and showing consistency with it as well. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
that. Yeah, it is that consistency, and that sometimes she might not be in the headspace to actually um, think about the repercussions herself,
Hmm.
almost, because it is just that blind doing.
Hmm.
Um, so sometimes, if if you're in my sort of position, you can be that responsibility. Do you know what I mean? Just be that little voice of reason, little angel on the shoulder. You know, even though you're fighting a far bigger devil on the other shoulder, that's okay. You just need to be a tiny little light at the end of the tunnel,
Hmm.
and hope. Hope stands for a lot as well, because we do have to hope things get better.
Yeah, it does. And um, I wanted to ask you, like, along the way, like, this hasn't been easy for you as well. Like, how are some ways that you've been able to manage your wellness and your stress levels along the journey?
Um, to be honest, I used the good days that that my wife was having as good days for me. So I've had an ability to remain strong through the negativity, because thankfully I don't suffer with mental illness, um, or how do you say this diplomatically? It's about how you approach things. I feel it's just how you approach things rather than how you deal with things. Because if you approach things in a certain way, the end result is usually the best outcome anyway. So by using the good days as a double, this is a good day for me because of XYZ, and this is a good day for her because of XYZ. Well, we both accomplished something there. I've been able to see the good in her good days, which has then made my day good. And then we just go back to being supportive on the negative days, where
Right.
we know that nothing can be achieved. So it's almost like you take tiny little, it's like walking in the sand. You know, you do two steps forward and you do one step back. But the biggest point is you've still taken one step forward.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so I always think of like my motto was like, I may not know where I'm going and it might be really hard, but as long as like I'm taking like those steps forward, like you said, like just keep moving. Um, and along the way, like you're gonna find the paths that are easier to take, and um, if when we stop or go backwards, then things get a little harder sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that you pick up on the energy of the days and like ride that energy because that's I think that that's really powerful. I think that's really empowering, and um, it gives you like when you can match up your energies like that, like that helps a lot.
Yeah, I
Or,
know her very well. You know, you do get to know someone incredibly well when you've seen them at their lowest,
mhm.
and that stands for a lot. And to be able to pick that person up again the following day, it means a lot. You know, that relationship isn't forged overnight. That relationship isn't forged over weeks or months. That something, that strong comes from years and years of commitment. So I know my wife very well. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, I can read her quite well in that respect.
that's really beautiful because um, like knowing from like someone who has coming from someone who has like suffered with mental health illness, and there's been like some deep dark places that I've fallen to, and like um, David is like fortunate enough to not have to experience those things, and so in the, in this he's kind of like you, and like he's been able to like see me through all of that and like see those hardest parts of me and scariest parts of me, and like just be there like hey I'm here if you want to
Yeah.
go get dinner or like
Yeah, exactly. It's that consistency. It doesn't matter how low you are or how at the very top of the world you are, as long as
yeah,
that person's still there, stood next to you, that's all that matters.
yeah, it makes it makes a really big difference because I know when I do get to those places, which I'm like, it's been a long time. I've been doing a lot of work, but I remember thinking all the time, like, I must be so ridiculous. I must look so ridiculous. I must like everything around me is just ridiculous. And like, why do people want to be around me?
Do you know
And
what my
like,
wife
I
said?
would think
Some
those thoughts. And
go
then
on.
David would just be there and like everything's perfectly fine, and
Yeah.
because everything is good, everything is okay, um and he's gonna be there and support me, and so um yes, I want you to know, coming from, you know, from that side of the experience, that like how special and important that is for like your partner. So yeah, thanks for being so cool.
I appreciate you sharing that as well. It's not easy to sit here and share you know, what you've been through and stuff. So yeah, no, thanks. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's going to benefit from these things. It's great. It's a great cause, to be honest. I really
yeah,
hope it gets more attention as it moves on.
yeah. Thank you. So we originally were not gonna do one in Q1 because after Dream Space, we are like, whoa, this is a lot to process. We have a lot, like, we learned a lot. It was very successful. Um, let's let's like process it and come back like in Q3 or Q2 or Q3. But then like after Christmas, I was like, no, our mission was to continue having these conversations, and even though it's coming up really fast, like I know that we can pull something together that will be helpful. And 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 by doing this, this actually like caused us to plan out the whole year of like, okay, we're gonna have one in June, we're gonna have one in September, then we have Dream Space again in December, and now we know dates, we know themes, we know the process of like collecting information or from people, or like um, just what it takes to do this. So um, even though um, yeah, even though we weren't going to do it, I'm really happy that we are doing it.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, but yeah, and it takes like the courage of people to share their stories, people to share their art and their dreams, um, and people like you and I that are doing the work, the doing the work of and whether that's through sharing our stories or helping the people around us. Just that commitment, that commitment you said of like living, making choices with intention. Um, it it takes all of us, and that energy ripples out like it does. So we're
Slowly, slowly.
slowly, and I feel I see it every day, like more and more people being more mindful and like wanting to have these conversations. And like you said, you can't snap your fingers, but like progress.
Yeah, if we all start moving in the same direction, it'll be all right.
Definitely. And I know, like for everyone, like we're recording today on the 24th, but this morning's been like a really wild morning for me, like energetically. Like I've been feeling a lot a lot of really good energy, but I also feel like a lot of the fear that of the things that are happening in the world today. And it's like I can I it's like I don't know how to describe it. Almost like I don't want to call it a whirlwind because I'm really grounded and like I feel good and it's not too much for me. But it does feel a little bit like a little windstorm of energy just going everywhere, and I'm like um, receiving like a lot of ideas and like a lot of I call them downloads of like people that I need to reach out to start building a network of healers or a network of people who just want to be more mindful and like trying to get people on the same page to send out more like positive vibes out into the world, because I think like we do live in this very physical space, but there is that energetic side that you feel like you feel it when you are talking to other people or when you are creating art or and you're in the flow. Like people feel it at different times. And I think that if we can tap into that and continue to share our stories and continue to make more time for conversations and practices like this, that we can like spread that good energy. Yeah, so that's my personal goals with all of this. Yeah, but man, I don't know. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
thinking about so many things now. But yeah, so how are you feeling? Like um, after sharing some of your story?
Yeah, I feel better actually. Yeah, feel good. Feel good.
Yeah.
Problem shared is a problem halved.
Well, if you feel good, I feel good. Um, is there anything that you would like to share with everyone before we finish our recording?
I'd like to say that um, we're thinking of all the people in Ukraine and sending love over there, and just be strong. You got this. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, everyone, like if you find some moments today of where you find yourself in thought or want to do some meditation or just reflect, like please think of all the people out there that are scared right now, or um, whether they're in your local community or in the Ukraine or around the world. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, so just send those, like I call them warm hug vibes out to people. And um, yeah, and try to find ways to stay grounded yourselves, and know that you're safe where you are. And if you do need anything, to reach out to other people. That way we can find ways to support. So yeah, thank you, Nathan, and
Thanks,
thank
mate.
you, Retro NFTs, for being so amazing. We love you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
I'll talk to
See
you
you,
soon.
man.